I never thought a routine ultrasound would be the moment my entire world collapsed. But there I was, standing in that sterile examination room at Toronto General Hospital, watching Dr. Patel's face drain of color as she studied the monitor. My wife Emma lay on the table between us, her hand in mine, both of us excited to see our baby girl one more time before the due date. We'd been counting down the days. 8 more weeks until I'd become a father. 8 weeks until my life would change forever. I just didn't know it would change in a completely different way than I'd imagined. Dr. Patel's fingers moved across the keyboard, taking measurements. She zoomed in on different angles, her expression growing more troubled with each click. Emma squeezed my hand, chattering about the nursery we'd just finished painting. Soft yellow walls, white furniture, a mobile with little elephants that played lullabies. I'd spent 3 weekends assembling everything, following those impossible instructions, determined to get it perfect. "Everything looks good, right?" Emma asked, her voice bright with anticipation. Dr. Patel didn't answer immediately. She continued taking measurements, her jaw tight. Then she turned to Emma with a professional smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "The baby looks healthy," she said carefully. "Emma, would you mind if I borrowed your husband for just a moment? There's some paperwork I need him to sign before you leave today." I felt Emma's hand tense in mine. "Can't he sign it here?" "Hospital policy," Dr. Patel said smoothly. "It'll just take a minute." I followed her into the hallway, expecting some insurance form or consent document. Instead, she led me to a small consultation room and closed the door. Her composure cracked the moment we were alone. "Mr. Davidson, when did Emma conceive?" The question caught me off guard. Early March, I think. She told me she was pregnant in April." "Why?" Dr. Patel pressed her lips together. "And before March, were you away at all? Out of town?" "I was in Vancouver for work," I said slowly. "February through most of March. Almost 6 weeks total. I got back March 23rd. A cold feeling started spreading through my chest. "What's this about?" She pulled up the ultrasound images on her tablet, pointing to measurements I couldn't decipher. "Based on the fetal development, crown rump length, femur measurements, and head circumference, I can date this pregnancy with a high degree of accuracy. This baby was conceived in late January, possibly early February at the absolute latest." The room seemed to tilt. "That's not possible. I wasn't even in Toronto then." "I know." Her voice was gentle but firm. "That's why I needed to speak with you privately." I stared at the measurements, my mind racing. Late January. I'd been in Vancouver since February 5th. Emma and I had celebrated New Year's together, and then I'd left for that massive project with the tech startup. 6 weeks of 18-hour days, living in a extended-stay hotel near the office, barely having time to FaceTime home. "Are you absolutely certain about the timing?" "Within a few days, yes. Ultrasound dating is most accurate in the first and second trimesters, and Emma's at 32 weeks now. The math doesn't lie, Mr. Davidson." My legs felt weak. I sat down hard in one of the chairs. "Why are you telling me this?" Dr. Patel sat across from me, her dark eyes filled with compassion. "Because I took an oath to do no harm, and I've seen too many men raise children that aren't theirs, never knowing the truth. Too many women who deceive their partners and get away with it because no one has the courage to speak up." She leaned forward. "What you do with this information is your choice, but you deserve to know." "There has to be another explanation," I said, but even as the words left my mouth, I knew I was grasping at straws. "The only way to be certain is a paternity test. Non-invasive prenatal testing can be done with a simple blood draw. But Mr. Davidson," she paused, "don't tell Emma what I've told you. Not yet. Gather evidence first. Protect yourself legally. I've seen too many cases where the husband confronts immediately and the wife has time to destroy evidence, manipulate the narrative, or drain bank accounts. I felt like I was drowning. I can't. I know this is overwhelming, but you need to think clearly now. For your own sake." She wrote something on a slip of paper and handed it to me. "This is a private lab that does prenatal paternity testing. They're discreet. You'll need a sample from Emma, but they can work with what we collected today if you request it quickly enough." I took the paper with numb fingers. What do I tell her? Out there, tell her everything looks perfect. Tell her the baby is healthy and right on track. Because medically, that's true. The baby is fine. She stood. I'm sorry, Mr. Davidson. I truly am. I walked back to the examination room like a zombie. Emma was sitting up, scrolling through her phone, probably looking at baby clothes online like she'd been doing obsessively for months. She looked up when I entered, her face glowing with that pregnancy radiance everyone talks about. Everything okay? She asked. Yeah, I heard myself say. Just some routine paperwork. Nothing to worry about. She beamed at me. Did you see her little face? She's so perfect already. I nodded, unable to form words. All I could see were those measurements on Dr. Patel's screen. Late January, early February, when I was 2,000 miles away, living in a hotel room in Vancouver, eating takeout and debugging code until midnight every night. We drove home in my Honda, Emma chattering about the ultrasound photos, about how real it all felt now, about how she couldn't wait to meet our daughter. I made appropriate noises, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Our daughter. Was she even my daughter? That night, while Emma slept, I sat in the nursery I'd so carefully prepared. The yellow walls seemed to mock me now. I pulled out my laptop and started looking through our bank statements, our credit card bills, phone records, anything that might give me answers. February. What had Emma been doing in February while I was gone? I found the first clue in our shared Google Photos account. A picture from February 14th, Valentine's Day. Emma at some restaurant I didn't recognize, holding a cocktail. She'd told me she was staying in that night because she missed me too much to celebrate without me. But there she was, dressed up, makeup perfect, clearly out somewhere. I reverse image searched the background. The restaurant was called Sotto Voce, an upscale Italian place in Yorkville. Expensive. The kind of place you take someone you're trying to impress. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through more photos. There, February 21st. Emma at a hockey game. Maple Leafs versus Boston. She told me she was having a quiet night with her sister. I zoomed in on the photo. I could see part of someone's arm around her shoulders. A man's arm, based on the watch and the size. Definitely not her sister. I spent hours that night piecing together her February. Gym check-ins at odd hours. Late-night posts from bars in the entertainment district. Photos with carefully cropped edges, like she was hiding who she was with. And then I found it. March 2nd, a week before I came home. A screenshot she'd apparently saved by accident in our shared folder, probably meant to send to someone else. A text conversation with someone named Liam. Can't wait to see you tonight. Usual place? Emma's response. Counting down the minutes. Bring wine? Liam. Anything for you? Beautiful. I felt physically sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up, trying to keep quiet so I wouldn't wake Emma. When I came back out, she was standing in the hallway, rubbing her eyes. Babe, you okay? Just something I ate. I managed. Go back to bed. She padded over and wrapped her arms around me, her pregnant belly pressing against me. You've been working too hard. You need to take care of yourself. We need you healthy for when the baby comes. I held her, breathing in the familiar scent of her shampoo, and felt my heart breaking into pieces. How long had this been going on? Who was Liam? And was he the father of the baby Emma was carrying? The next morning, I called the lab Dr. Patel had recommended. They explained the process. They needed a blood sample from Emma and from me. They could have results in 7 to 10 business days. Can you run it with samples you already have? I asked. From a doctor's office? There was a pause. If the samples were collected recently and properly stored, potentially yes. We'd need authorization from the ordering physician. I called Dr. Patel's office. She called me back within an hour. I can send over what we collected yesterday, she said quietly. I'll mark it as routine prenatal screening. No one will question it. Thank you, I whispered. Be strong, Mr. Davidson. Whatever the results show, you'll get through this. I went through the motions for the next week. Going to work at the software company where I was a senior developer. Coming home to Emma, who was planning our baby shower, talking about maternity leave, showing me tiny clothes she'd bought. Every smile she gave me felt like a knife twisting deeper. I hired a private investigator. His name was Robert Chen. Came highly recommended, former police detective. I gave him everything I'd found and Emma's daily schedule. I need to know who Liam is, I told him. I need to know everything. 3 days later, he called me. Found him. Liam Garrett, personal trainer at Equilife Fitness on King Street. That's where your wife has her gym membership. Of course. The gym. How many cliches was I living through? She's been seeing him regularly since last October, Robert continued. They work out together 3 times a week, but based on surveillance from the last few days, they're definitely more than trainer and client. I've got photos of them having lunch together, walking in Queen's Park holding hands. Yesterday they went to his apartment. She was there for 3 hours. I closed my eyes. Send me everything. The envelope arrived the next day. Photos of Emma and Liam, laughing together, his hand on her lower back, kissing in his car, walking into his building, her looking around nervously before following him inside. The lab results arrived 2 days later. I opened the envelope in my car, sitting in the parking lot at work, unable to go inside. The alleged father is excluded as the biological father of the child. Probability of paternity, 0%. 0%. The baby wasn't mine. I sat there for an hour, staring at those words. 0%. All those months of excitement, all that preparation, all those dreams of holding my daughter for the first time, none of it was real. It was all built on a lie. When I finally went home that evening, Emma was in the kitchen making dinner. Something with chicken. The smell usually would have made me hungry. Now, it just made me nauseous. "Hey, honey," she called out. "Dinner's almost ready." "Oh," Sarah called about the baby shower. She wants to know if we prefer Saturday or Sunday next weekend. I set my briefcase down slowly. "Emma, we need to talk." She turned, spatula in hand, her expression instantly concerned. "What's wrong? You look upset. When were you planning to tell me?" "Tell you what." I pulled out my phone, brought up the photos Robert had sent. "About Liam." Her face went white. The spatula clattered to the floor. That's not. Don't." My voice came out harder than I intended. "Don't lie to me anymore. I know everything. I know you've been seeing him since October. I know you spent Valentine's Day with him. I know you were with him all through February while I was in Vancouver." "It's not what you think," she started, but I cut her off. "The baby isn't mine." I showed her the paternity test results. According to the ultrasound, she was conceived in late January, early February. I was in Vancouver. You were here with him. Emma's legs seemed to give out. She grabbed the counter for support, her face crumbling. "How did you—" "The ultrasound was fine," the doctor said. "The doctor said the baby was healthy. She didn't say the baby was mine, because she knew it couldn't be." Tears started streaming down Emma's face. "I can explain. I was lonely. You were gone so much for work. And Liam, he was just there, and it happened, and I made a terrible mistake. But I love you, and I want this to be our family." "Our family?" I laughed, a bitter sound. "Emma, you've been lying to me for months. You got pregnant with another man's baby and tried to pass it off as mine. Do you have any idea how insane that is?" "It was one mistake. One time," she sobbed. "One time?" I pulled up the folder of photos on my phone. "Robert has documentation of at least 15 times you went to Liam's apartment between February and now. 15 times, I can prove. Want to tell me how many times there really were?" She sank to the floor, her hands covering her face, her whole body shaking with sobs. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I thought maybe it could be yours. Maybe the timing was close enough. You thought you could trick me into raising another man's child." The betrayal hit me fresh, like a physical blow. "Were you ever going to tell me? I didn't know what to do. By the time I realized I was pregnant, you were back, and we were happy again, and I thought maybe it would be okay." "Maybe it would be okay?" I stared at her. This woman I'd loved for 6 years, married for 3, and felt like I was looking at a stranger. "You thought it would be okay to deceive me for the rest of my life? To let me bond with a child that wasn't mine? To take my money, my time, my love, all based on a lie?" "Please," she begged, reaching for me. "Please, we can work through this. I'll end things with Liam. We can go to counseling. We can fix this." I stepped back, avoiding her touch. "Does Liam know?" She went very still. "Know what?" "That he's the father." A long pause. Then, quietly, "No." "Were you ever going to tell him? What would be the point? He's not. He doesn't want kids. He's not father material. You are. You're stable and kind, and you wanted this baby so much. And you thought you could have it all." I finished. The stable husband at home and the exciting affair on the side. The father who'd raised the baby and the lover who gave you attention. Did you ever actually love me, Emma? Or was I just convenient? Of course I love you, she cried. I made a mistake, but I love you. Everything else was real. I shook my head. If you loved me, you would have told me the truth. If you loved me, you wouldn't have let me spend 3 weekends building a nursery for another man's child. If you loved me, you wouldn't have let me sit in that ultrasound room, holding your hand, excited about becoming a father, knowing it was all a lie. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out the suitcase from under the bed, and started packing. Emma followed me, still crying, still begging. Where are you going? You can't just leave. Watch me. I threw clothes into the suitcase. I'm going to a hotel tonight. Tomorrow I'm calling a divorce lawyer. I want you out of this house by the end of the month. This is my house, too. Actually, it's not. I turned to face her. I bought this house before we got married. It's in my name only. Check the deed. Her face went even paler. You can't kick me out. I'm pregnant. With someone else's child. Not my problem anymore. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Call Liam. Tell him he's about to be a father. See if he's as excited as I was. I zipped the suitcase. Or call your parents. Call your sister. I don't care. But you're not staying here. Please, please don't do this. She grabbed my arm. Think about the baby. She needs a father. I gently removed her hand. She has a father. His name is Liam Garrett. He works at Equilife Fitness on King Street. Maybe you should introduce them. I walked out, her sobs echoing behind me. I got in my car, drove to a hotel near the airport, checked in, and finally let myself fall apart. I cried in that anonymous hotel room until I had nothing left, grieving the future I'd imagined, the daughter I'd already loved, the marriage I'd thought was solid. The next morning, I called Thomas Brennan, the best divorce lawyer in Toronto, according to Google. His retainer was eye-watering, but I didn't care. I want this done fast, and I want this done clean, I told him. I have proof of infidelity and proof that the child isn't mine. I want her out of my house and out of my life. We can definitely make that happen, Thomas said. Ontario is a no-fault divorce province, but your evidence will definitely help with asset division and ensure you're not on the hook for child support. When did you get married? 3 years ago, September 2021. And the house was purchased when? 2019. It's in my name only, purchased before the marriage. Good. That's not a marital asset then. We'll need to divide anything accumulated during the marriage, but the house stays yours. What about her lawyer? I don't think she has one yet. She will soon. Don't communicate with her directly anymore. Everything goes through me now. I spent the next week in that hotel, going to work like normal, but coming back to empty rooms instead of home. Emma tried calling me hundreds of times. I blocked her number. She tried emailing. I set up a filter to send everything to Thomas. My parents called, confused and worried. Emma had apparently called them crying, telling them I'd abandoned her. Son, what's going on? My dad asked. Emma says you kicked her out. Did she mention that the baby isn't mine? Silence. Then my mom's voice. She'd been listening on speaker. What? She was having an affair, got pregnant with the other guy's baby, tried to pass it off as mine. I have DNA test results and everything. More silence. Then my dad, his voice tight. That girl, we welcomed her into our family. I know, Dad, I know. What do you need from us? That question broke something in me. I don't know. I don't know what I need. Come stay with us, my mom said. Don't stay in a hotel. Come home. But I couldn't. Their house in Oakville had too many memories. Emma and I had spent countless Sundays there. Family dinners, holidays. I couldn't face going back there and seeing the empty space where she should have been. Robert called me with his final report. I have everything documented. Dates, times, locations. I also managed to get some information about Liam Garrett that might interest you. What's that? He's currently living with his girlfriend. Has been for 2 years. She has no idea about Emma. Of course he did. Of course Emma wasn't even his only affair. I almost laughed. Want me to tell her? Robert asked. No, that's not my responsibility. But if she ever comes asking, feel free to share. 3 weeks after that ultrasound, I sat in a mediation room with Emma and our lawyers. She looked terrible. dark circles under her eyes, her maternity clothes hanging loose like she'd lost weight. Part of me still wanted to comfort her. 6 years of love don't disappear overnight. But I pushed that feeling down. My client is willing to offer a fair division of marital assets, Thomas began. The house remains with Mr. Davidson, as it was purchased prior to the marriage. Joint savings will be split 50-50. My client will keep his car. Mrs. Davidson keeps hers. Mr. Davidson requests that Mrs. Davidson remove her belongings from the residence within 30 days. Emma's lawyer, a stern woman named Patricia, countered, "My client is pregnant and unable to work. She requests temporary spousal support until the baby is born and she can return to employment." "The pregnancy is not my client's responsibility," Thomas said coldly, "as evidenced by the paternity test results we've provided. Mr. Davidson is not the father and therefore has no financial obligation to support Mrs. Davidson or the child." Emma started crying. "I have nowhere to go. My parents won't take me in. My sister has a 1-bedroom apartment. I can't afford my own place right now." "That's unfortunate," Thomas said, "but not Mr. Davidson's problem. Perhaps the biological father of your child can assist you." "He won't talk to me," Emma burst out. "I told him about the baby, and he blocked my number. He wants nothing to do with it." I felt nothing. That should have bothered me. That I felt nothing while the woman I'd planned to spend my life with fell apart in front of me. But I was empty. "Again," Thomas said, "not my client's concern. However, in the interest of reaching an agreement today, Mr. Davidson is willing to give Mrs. Davidson 3 months to vacate the property, instead of 30 days. He'll also agree to her keeping the furniture in the guest room and the car. But that's the extent of his generosity." We went back and forth for 2 hours. In the end, Emma signed the papers. She got half the savings, about $40,000, her car, some furniture, and 3 months to find a new place. I got the house, my retirement accounts, and my freedom. Walking out of that office, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in weeks. I moved back into my house the next day. Emma had already started packing, boxes everywhere, the nursery door closed. I didn't open it. I couldn't. Instead, I focused on reclaiming my space. I changed the locks. I changed the Wi-Fi password. I removed her name from every account we'd shared. The divorce was finalized in 4 months, fast by Canadian standards. Emma had the baby in November, a girl, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. I know because she sent me a photo with a long email about how beautiful our daughter was, how much she needed her father, how it wasn't too late for us. I deleted it without responding. Through mutual friends, I heard she eventually moved to Hamilton, living with some aunt who took pity on her. Liam never stepped up. His girlfriend found out about the affair and kicked him out, but that didn't make him suddenly want to be a father. Last I heard, Emma was working part-time at a call center, struggling to make ends meet with a baby and no support system. I wish I could say I felt vindicated, that knowing she was suffering made me feel better about what she'd done. But mostly I just felt sad. Sad for the baby growing up without a father who wanted her. Sad for the time I'd wasted. Sad for the future we'd planned that would never happen. Dr. Patel reached out to me 6 months after the divorce, just to check in. "How are you doing, Mr. Davidson?" "Better," I said honestly. "Some days are harder than others, but I'm better. I want you to know I don't regret telling you," she said. "I know it caused you tremendous pain, but you deserve to know the truth. I appreciate that more than I can say. You saved me from years of living a lie." "That's what I hoped. I've been thinking about your case a lot. How many other men are in your situation and don't know? How many women think they can get away with it because no one will speak up? Probably more than we'd like to think. I'm considering writing a paper about the ethical obligations of physicians in cases like this. Not using your name, of course, but discussing the dilemma of patient confidentiality versus truth. Would you be comfortable with that? If it helps even one person? Absolutely. A year after the ultrasound that changed everything, I was doing okay. I'd thrown myself into work, gotten a promotion, started going to therapy to work through the betrayal and trust issues. I'd gone on a few dates, nothing serious yet, but I was open to the possibility of finding love again someday. I'd also joined a men's support group for fathers dealing with paternity fraud. Hearing other men's stories, realizing I wasn't alone in this nightmare, helped more than anything else. Some of them had raised children for years before finding out the truth. Some had signed birth certificates and were legally trapped providing for kids that weren't theirs. I'd gotten lucky, in a twisted way. I'd found out before the baby was born, before I'd held her, before I'd changed a diaper or stayed up all night with her crying, before I'd loved her as my own. But I'd still lost something. The dream of fatherhood, at least for now, the ability to trust easily, the innocence of believing that the people you love would never hurt you that deeply. If there's anything I want people to take away from my story, it's this: trust but verify. It sounds cynical, and maybe it is, but it's also realistic. If something feels off, don't ignore your instincts. Ask questions. Seek truth, even when it's painful. And if you're ever in a position, like Dr. Patel was, where you see someone being deceived, have the courage to speak up. Yes, it's messy and complicated and people will get hurt, but living a lie hurts more in the long run. I also learned about the importance of protecting yourself legally. Prenups aren't romantic, but they're practical. Keeping certain assets separate isn't about planning for failure, it's about being smart. And if you're ever in doubt about paternity, especially if the timeline seems suspicious, get that test done. You deserve to know the truth, and so does the child. The other thing I learned is that healing isn't linear. Some days I wake up angry all over again. Some days I feel relief. Some days I wonder what Emma's doing, if she's okay, if the baby's okay, and I have to remind myself that it's not my responsibility anymore, that I made the right choice, that I deserve a partner who's honest and faithful and actually wants to build a life with me, not just use me as a safety net while they explore other options. 2 years later, I'm in a good place. I met someone new. Her name is Claire. She's a graphic designer who makes me laugh and who knows my whole story and loves me anyway. We're taking it slow, building something real on a foundation of honesty. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm probably more cautious than I need to be sometimes, but that's okay. I'd rather be too careful than too trusting. I still think about that moment in the hallway with Dr. Patel sometimes, how my life split into before and after, how one conversation changed everything, how the truth, as painful as it was, set me free to find something better. Emma reached out on what would have been our anniversary last month. A long message about regrets and apologies and how she'd grown as a person, how she understood now what she'd destroyed, how she'd do anything to go back and make different choices. I read it once, then archived it without responding. There's nothing left to say. What's done is done. She made her choices and she's living with them. I've made my choices too, and I'm at peace with them. The nursery is a home office now. I painted over the yellow walls, brought in a desk and bookshelves, turned it into a space for productivity instead of dreams that never were. Sometimes I think about the daughter I almost had, wonder what she looks like now, if she's happy, if Emma ever told her about me. But mostly I focus on the future instead of the past, because that's the final lesson in all of this. You can't change what happened. You can't go back and make different choices or trust different people. All you can do is move forward with the wisdom you've gained, the boundaries you've set, and the determination to build something better. The ultrasound that revealed the lie ultimately delivered the truth that set me free. And while the path to freedom was the hardest thing I've ever walked, I'm grateful I walked it. I'm grateful for Dr. Patel's courage. I'm grateful for the support system that held me up when I couldn't stand on my own. And I'm grateful that I had the strength to choose myself, to choose truth, to choose a future that wasn't built on deception. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, know that it gets better. Know that you deserve honesty and respect and real love. Know that it's okay to walk away from someone who betrayed you, even if they're carrying a child, even if everyone tells you to stay and work it out. Your mental health and emotional well-being matter. Your truth matters. And you don't owe anyone a lifetime of living a lie just because the truth is inconvenient or uncomfortable for them. Choose yourself. Choose truth. Choose freedom. The pain of discovery is temporary. The pain of living a lie is forever.